opportunity to see the first 4 episodes, and some of the actors talked about how this is a more vulnerable role for them. But I always thought that your character provided the vulnerability thus far. How would you say seeing their progression was for you?
I think I'm most drawn outside of my own family, outside of Franklin and Alton, who I get to experience every day. I think I am most drawn to Isaiah's character, Leon. He goes places that you audience have not seen yet. And I was just so grateful and proud to be a part of that experience. He's such a, there's so much in the actor. There's so much in that actor. It is a pleasure to see that the writers have embraced that truth and are willing to exhibit it through Leon, because and it just opens up such a world of opportunities to tell Leon's story, which I think is really important. Really important. It's always to John, to everybody, authenticity.
Yeah.
And for me, nuances, tiny details, character development are as important, if not more important, than telling the whole story. Story development, because when you are connected to the intricacies of each character, you're sold on the story. It just goes with it effortlessly. And you get the opportunity to do that with more of the characters in this season, for sure.
I remember speaking to you coming into the first season, and you just talked about your perspective for Sissy and how you connect with her on the single mother nature of her character. Now she's progressed quite a bit. I wanted to hear your opinion. I was so surprised to see that she eventually broke and became supportive to Franklin in his endeavors. How did that feel for you in your journey with Sissy? And how did you get yourself to commit to that?
When we began this journey, John shared with me, he was very clear with me on where he wanted Sissy to go, where he wanted this arc to go. So I wasn't surprised, but how it unfolded, I'm like, but you have to, it's unavoidable, because as a parent, you have two options. You either walk away from your child or you try to help. Let's just talk about addiction. You either step away and allow the consequences of his actions to teach him the lesson he needs to learn, and hopefully he will rise up from that and make a change in his life, or you do your best to help. And some people may call that enabling, but every parent has to make that choice that is dealing with issues of addiction. And you could see this as an addiction, really. And unbeknownst to Sissy, I'm sure if somebody had posed this to Sissy 10 years ago or 5 years ago, first of all, she would absolutely, smack in your face to think that her child would ever do something like this. But then to say, would Sissy ever? Absolutely not. Sissy would not ever do something like this, allow and enable her child and blah, blah, blah. But then you step into these moments and you see your child struggling, and life takes you some places. But the bottom line for Sissy is, I am not there. And I can relate to that. how do you live and function and do life and all of that when you know that you have turned your back on your child? For what? I don't know. I understand that it's not every parent's choice. It's not every, yeah, it's not every parent's choice. It's not, but for Sissy, it just didn't make sense. And there was hope. That's the important thing. There was hope that in helping him, there could be change for the better. That has always been the thing that drove Sissy. And where there is hope, there's you got to try.
Yeah, I think there was something. Sissy is one of the more beautifully complicated because I understand how she could get there. Family, she has her morals, but also family is very important to her, and so it was something very beautiful of seeing you guys' family together, even though the business was a dirty business. So I definitely understood it, but I can see how it would be very difficult to sit with. Considering how we got introduced to who Sissy was. So yeah, I was curious to hear your perspective on that. What can people expect from your character in this season?
Man. I'm only hesitating because I don't want to give too much away, but Lord, I tell you, as we were saying, the journey that each one of these characters take post Real Day Revolution is incredibly deep, incredibly real. Sissy has always been about the family. Sissy has always been about her son and then her husband, and we get to see just how deep that truth goes than we have ever seen before on different levels, on such. I am always grateful when there are opportunities to show the whole family, father, mother, and child. I think those are incredibly strong moments that we don't see enough of on television about the African American experience. And the way the writers chose to write once the revolution began, it just took the truth of our experiences as African people, of our experiences in this show, to another level of truth speaking in media, truth speaking in television. It was absolutely necessary. And the way it takes Sissy and Alton and Franklin, it goes some places. It's deep.
That's awesome. And my final question for you is, everyone has talked about the chemistry you guys have together as from a professional standpoint, but just like a comfort level. Talked to one of the directors who came in and was like, wow, the vibe there is just so like allows everyone to tap into their creative juices. I know you are a veteran and you've seen a lot of different sets and chemistry dynamics. For you, how would you say that has been? And then also, how would you say that has allowed you to express your creativity?
Yeah. So I've spent a lot of time in television, and I've been a guest or recurring on different shows. And as a recurring, you know what your job is. You prepare. You come to work ready to go. You familiarize yourself with the energy of the show. You do your thing and you bounce. You develop rapports with people and all of that stuff, and then you bounce. the beautiful thing about this experience is we had 3 years where we traveled the country together to promote the show, spending weeks together. We would just, get on a plane, go to one city, do PR stuff, go back to our hotels, hang out, have dinner. We've had 3 years of getting to know each other offset, off camera. And that has truly deepened the personal relationships that we have had, the understanding, the respect, the familial connection that we have made. And I really don't think there is a scene in this season between Leon and Sissy. I truly don't believe it could have existed with the simplicity and with the depth that it exists had we not had this time to groove with each other over the first 3 seasons. It is effortless, and it is, I keep saying the word truthful because that is, to me, just sings the entire melody that is Snowfall. It is a very honest, effortless partnership. And everything that you see there is there's, and yeah, and then working with Eamon, who plays Jerome, I forget the names. I mean, it's like I feel that man. He's out with my son right now. They're golfing. It feels, I've never met these people before 3 years ago. I didn't know any of these people, but I know them now, and they know me, and they know my child, and everybody's had children, and Carter, and his wife Holly, and their beautiful baby. It's really just a lovely dynamic of people growing together. In theater, it's the ensemble. Everybody talks about your family and stuff because you're forced to come together and share the deepest, darkest parts of yourself that you sometimes don't even share with yourself. But in this moment, in this artistic moment that we are all committed to, we are willing to let ourselves be naked and cut open so that the truth, that we can be the vessels that we have signed up to be. And no more is that as visible as in this interaction for the last 3 seasons, and even more so in this 4th season. I don't even remember what the first 4 episodes were, but you get into some stuff where it just is a different level.
Yes, so well said. Yeah, the depth, the emotional depth, the vulnerability, how we get to see the characters and how we've grown with the characters. It's got to be something like comfort that you guys have, and it just comes through on the camera. So it's been a pleasure to watch it with you guys. Of course, the first 2 episodes are releasing on February 24th. So if you want to get more Sissy Sane, you could check them out then, of course, on FX. But thank you so much for joining me, and it's been a pleasure speaking to you.
You look wonderful, sweetheart.
Thank you.
Where is the buzz you said was mine?